Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday, everyone. Well, I think I have 2 more days of 107, and then it's going to start cooling down into the 90s. I'm counting the time. Anyway, I am here today with an open collab that is hosted by myself and my friend from My Mountain Home and Kitchen, and it is called hashtag Thursday BookTube. And so on Thursday BookTube, that's exactly what it is. You can just talk about any kind of book you want. If you finished a book and you want to talk about that, you can. If you have a favorite cookbook or color book or children's book or a classic book that you've read before, but you didn't just finish reading it, but you want to talk about that, you can. But today I did finish, finally, the Danielle Steele, The Good Fight. I finished that, a few days ago. And so it was a good book. Danielle always brings me back if I have a really heavy book or a dark book or something and I just need an easy read. I like to read Danielle. However, the book I was reading before was all about the war for the woman with the Vietnam War. And lo and behold, this book starts out where they are in the 40s with the Second World War. Is that what it was?
Korean War.
No, it wasn't the Korean War. It was a war in Germany.
World War II.
Yeah, it was World War II. Okay. And we start out with that's what we start out with. And this family from Manhattan, the father is a judge, and his father is a Superior Court judge. And the father moves his family over to Germany because he is fighting as a lawyer for the rights of the Americans over there in the war. And his daughter, Mary, ends up, she was young, she was like 8, and they were there for 4 years. So she learned German, French. She learned German fluent, and she just fell in love with Germany and the kids she went to school with. She felt like it was home. And then after his 4 years were done there, the father packs up the family and moves back to Manhattan. Well, when she gets ready to go off to college, her father would rather she didn't go off to college. Her father would rather that she got married and just had babies. But this is now into the 50s, and so she goes off to college, and she wants to be a lawyer. And her grandfather is all proud of her and encourages her, and her father doesn't like the fact. So then you're going through the Kennedy election by then, which is in the 60s, I believe. And I didn't realize, I should pay attention better, that Kennedy was a Democrat. And so her father was a strong Republican and didn't want him in the White House. The grandfather and Mary wanted Kennedy in the White House. So we had that whole thing going on in there. And then he did get elected. And by this time, when Mary's in college, she meets a girl named Claudia, who is from Germany. Her whole family died in the war, and then they put Claudia in a concentration camp when she was 8 until she was 12, which she got adopted by an American Jewish family, and they brought her back to Manhattan also. And so she and Mary became good friends in college and stayed lifelong friends through their whole lives. So it goes on with all of that. Mary's always getting in trouble with the law because she's going to all these protests and she's getting arrested. Her father's a judge. Her grandfather's a Superior Court judge. So they keep bailing her out. Finally, her father says he's not going to bail her out anymore. And by this time, Mary is a lawyer herself, and she's telling her father that her brother should not join. Her father thinks if her brother joins the reserves, he won't have to go to the Vietnam War. So here we are back in the Vietnam War, and another book. And the brother ends up going, and he does get drafted because he was in the reserves. And So it was exactly the opposite of what her father thought, but Mary kept trying to tell her father, but he wouldn't listen to her. So it goes on to show how the father then kind of mellows out with Mary and kind of understands more what's going on in the world instead of just being in this little bubble. And he ends up going with his daughter to a protest for Vietnam War because his son ended up dying in Vietnam. So Danielle is always good about killing off, people in the book, which sometimes you're like, no, but she does, and the ones you want her to kill off, she never does. So, anyways, it was a good book. It was probably a 4, not a 5. Maybe it was even a 3.5. It didn't hold my attention to where I just wanted to go back to the book so bad, but it was still good. Maybe it was just because I read a whole 600-page war book and then didn't realize, and this one was a war book, and it was called The Good Fight, and I think that's because Mary was always fighting for the rights of her country, for the rights of her people. She was, during the whole, segregation of blacks and whites, she was fighting for blacks to have more rights. So it was okay. It was a good book, but it wasn't one of those oh wow books. So now I'm finishing up The Woman They Could Not Silence. That's a 500-page book. I'm into it about 120 pages. And so maybe I'll concentrate more on that one. I did start another Danielle Steele book called The Matters of the Heart. It's not catching me right now, but I think just because I'm not in the mood for it. So maybe I'll concentrate on my book club book. I don't know. But anyways, all right. So if you have, there's some of you that follow me that do read Danielle Steele a lot. Have you read this book? I think it's a fairly new book. I didn't see when it was published. But, she puts out like 3 books a year or something like that. So, I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to get ready for work. And I hope you guys have a good day. If you would like to join into this collab, please do. We would love to have you talk about anything. If you have a favorite color book or, like we said, cookie book or anything you want. So, all right, you guys, have a great day. Take care. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.